They're just going to keep humping it, aren't they? Charlie Hurt, Washington Times opinion editor, a Fox Business contributor. Charlie, just feel free to respond to that. I will be beating my head on the desk while you talk.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, what about the boom and bust cycle of the wind, or the boom and bust cycle of the sunshine, or the boom and bust cycle of, fairy dust and, unicorns running out of oats to eat or whatever it is. No, it's insane. I mean, these people, and the thing that's so enraging about it is, you talk to regular, normal Americans, both Democrat and Republican, everybody loves the idea. Yeah, let's try all these other things. It's fantastic. But you don't like saw off the only reliable energy product that we have in this country and then say, oh yeah, but we're going to get to that in 50 years. It's the same thing that you hear. And Joe Biden did this today from the White House. Yet again, from the top, he says, look, you need to get an electric vehicle. Are you kidding me? It's so insulting. It's so stupid. It's kind of hard to, you really honestly have nothing else you can do but beat your head against the desk.
And I said this last time you were on, that Ford F-150 Lightning pickup that he was driving around, the platinum version of that is about $100,000. That's literally their message to the American people. But their messaging is so bad that you have the liberal media not doing a very good job but not doing a very good job at picking up the slack. So you got MSNBC, the liberal media, telling voters, just ignore the 40-year high inflation when you go to the polls. Just ignore the record gas prices. I call it a grab bag of moronicy. Here's one example.
Yeah.
Listen to this.
This November, will voters be more concerned with saving money than saving democracy?
Oh, not to be outdone. That was on MSNBC. Here's Washington Post columnist Catherine Rampell telling readers that it's a wild fantasy to believe that the GOP could lower gas prices, warning voters to, quote, think carefully about what they'll get if they cast their ballot based on gas prices.
Look, you can't, you have to hand it to the Biden administration. They did exactly what they said they were going to do. This is utopia in action right here. This is what they promised to do. They promised to destroy the fossil fuel industry. They are doing it, and this is what you get. And it's sort of kind of funny to look around and see Joe Biden trying to sort of backpedal now that he realizes Democrats are going to pay a grievous price for all of this in November elections, to try to claim, oh yeah, no, but we're gonna drain the strategic oil reserves. We're going to do a tax holiday for the gas tax. None of which solves the problem, of course. None of this reverses the dire damage that the guy has done to the economy. But it really is, it's astonishing. And I think, and of course, as you point out, the media has done everything they can, everything in their power to try to prop him up. But, you can't hide from this stuff. You can't hide from gas prices. You can't hide from the inflation. And they're going to pay a terrible price for this. And I can't think of anybody that is more deserving of it.
Yeah, on MSNBC, it's just one right after another. Donnie Deutsch, or however you pronounce his last name, they are telling the American people, you shouldn't care about your declining standard of living. You shouldn't care that your wages aren't keeping up with inflation. And it really does fall in with the messaging that we've had over the years. All Americans, if they don't fall in line with the liberal left-wing pipe dream ideology of that they are deplorables, they're rubes, rednecks, hayseeds, and hicks. Remember, bitterly clinging, we aren't just bitterly clinging to our guns and Bibles, we're also bitterly clinging to our internal combustion engines, loaves of bread, and steaks.
Yeah, no, it's really amazing. And, when you go through the litany of things, and this is a fairly new phenomenon, usually politicians will go after one or other politicians, and, they'll do whatever they can to slime the politicians in the other party. But we've now reached this strange new world where politicians don't just go after, Democrat politicians that is, don't just go after Republican politicians, they go after Republican voters and they slime them and they smear them and they ridicule them. It's a weird thing to see. And of course, Joe Biden, nobody does it more than Joe Biden. Joe Biden does it completely shamelessly, calling Republicans racist, calling, and then as you pointed out a minute ago, where they try to put up this false dichotomy about, oh, well, if you aren't in favor of high gas prices, you want Ukrainians to die. Of course, the big lie about that is the fact that the only reason that we have the war in the first place is because Joe Biden destroyed American energy independence and gave Putin the money to do it. But the other thing is that when you offer that sort of dichotomy, you're basically accusing anyone who's upset about gas prices of being like a murderer.
Exactly. That was what I found to be a new low for this president. I was actually astonished by that. Real quick, why hasn't Biden fired at least somebody? Like, if it's about symbolism and him not really doing anything to alleviate inflation and record high gas prices, wouldn't it feel good, just a little good, to fire Jenny Granholm or Ron Klain or somebody?
Or Mayorkas over the border. I still don't understand how that guy still has a job. I think at the end of the day, the answer is they don't care. He doesn't care whether it's the illegal streaming across the border or the high price of gasoline or inflation. He just doesn't care.
Just a smidgen of joy. Just cannon somebody. Just even a lower level person. Wouldn't that... the American people would be like, yeah, at least he's finally doing something. But nope, not happening.
Yeah, it's total political malpractice.
It is. Charlie Hurt, good to see you, my friend. Always.
Good to see you.